Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. A bench in December. Every December in the small town of Willowsbrook, the first snow would gently dust the cobblestones of Maple Park, turning it into a quiet, white sanctuary against the bustle of the holiday season. Amid the delicate snowfall, on a bench beneath the skeletal branches of an old oak tree, there sat a woman cloaked in a thick wool coat, her breath forming little clouds in the crisp winter air. In her gloved hand, she clutched a faded photograph, a memory of a life once dreamt of and a love now frozen in time. This was the ritual of Eliza Harper, a ritual she had kept faithfully each December since the year of her fiancé's untimely death. Eliza's fiancé, Nathaniel, had been everything she ever wished for: kind, ambitious, and fiercely loving. They had met on a rainy October morning 4 years before in the same park where she now sat. They had shared dreams on this very bench, whispering promises of lifelong happiness. But life, as it often cruelly does, had rewritten their story 7 Decembers ago when a car accident stole Nathaniel away just weeks before their wedding. Since then, every year without fail, Eliza sat on that bench at the edge of December, clutching his photograph, talking softly to him as if the cold air could carry her words straight to his soul. Passers-by mistook her for a woman grieving, lost in a past too painful to relinquish, but those who knew her understood that this moment was more than just mourning. It was her way of keeping Nathaniel alive, her way of bridging the gap between what was and what could never be again. This particular December was colder than most, the snowflakes swirling heavier and the winds sharper against the silvery mist that clung to the town like a secret. Eliza arrived early, wrapped in her beloved emerald scarf that Nathaniel had gifted her on their last Christmas together. She wore her memories like armor as she sat down, slipping the photograph between her fingers. The bench was icy, biting through the fabric of her gloves, but she paid no mind. Her eyes were fixed on the image, a picture of Nathaniel laughing, with that boyish grin she could still feel warming her heart. She reached up and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear, the cold making her skin pink and fragile. It was, as always, the best place to feel close to him. After a while, she heard the tentative scrape of footsteps against the gravel path. She turned to see a man approaching, his breath fogging in front of him like her own. He was bundled in a thick, navy coat with a knitted cap pulled low over his forehead, and there was something hesitant, cautious about his gait. He paused when he saw her, then asked quietly, "Is this seat taken?" Eliza studied him, her instinct to shy away clashing with a strange pull towards this stranger in the snow-worn park. Something gentle in his eyes disarmed her, so she nodded softly. "No, you can sit." The man settled next to her on the bench, careful to maintain a respectful distance. For a long moment, they watched the flakes fall, the world falling silent except for the whisper of winter breath and distant carols drifting from nearby shops. The photograph in Eliza's hand seemed to pulse with the cold, and she tucked it closer to her chest beneath her scarf. After what felt like an eternity, the man spoke. His voice was low with a trace of an accent, something timeless and worn, like a story waiting to unfold. "I come here every year too," he said. "Not the same bench, but this park. There's something anchoring about this place in December." Eliza nodded, intrigued despite herself. "This bench is special to me." He looked at her, his gaze curious. "Would you mind if I told you something?" That simple question hung between them like a fragile snowflake, and for reasons she couldn't explain, Eliza said, "No, please." He exhaled slowly, gathering words as if they were snowflakes drifting in the wind, delicate and weighty all at once. "My name is Gabriel. I was not always from here, but I found myself returning to this park each December for reasons I didn't understand until recently." Eliza's curiosity piqued, her fingers tightening around the photograph. "Why December?" she asked. Gabriel's eyes darkened with something both distant and intimate. Years ago, in a life I barely remember now, I came to this very park. I didn't sit on benches or speak to strangers. I searched for something. I lost. He paused, letting the silence fill the space between them before continuing. I lost someone who was supposed to be my forever. Maybe you know that kind of loss. Eliza's breath hitched, emotions flickering beneath the surface, a storm of grief and hope crashing into one another. Nathaniel, she whispered, as if invoking his name in this quiet place could make the walls around her heart crumble. Gabriel nodded gently, his presence comforting in a way she hadn't expected. They told me you waited for him, held onto his memory every year on this bench. How do you know that? There was a vulnerability in her voice she hadn't shown to anyone in years. Because, he said softly, I've been there. I sat in the shadows of heartache and thought the snow would never melt. But sometimes the past finds a way to reach the present, and maybe, just maybe, we find stories we were never meant to hear all those years ago. The words stirred something dormant inside Eliza, a flicker of warmth that defied the cold. She looked at Gabriel closely now, his face etched with kindness and something almost familiar. They sat together as silent witnesses to a winter that neither expected could hold such peculiar magic. Over the next hour, Gabriel recounted a story that was strange and wonderful. A tale of time, of paths crossing beyond the ordinary world, and of a love that refused to die but instead traveled silently through decades and winter nights. He told her of a promise made long before she had known Nathaniel, a promise binding two souls even through tragedy. According to Gabriel, Nathaniel's spirit had been unable to leave the earth's plane because of an unfinished story, not his own alone but one shared unknowingly with Gabriel's. The bench, the photograph, the ritual, these were threads caught in a web woven by fate itself. Eliza's heart raced as she listened, a cocktail of disbelief and yearning bubbling inside her. Could it be true? Could her love, her Nathaniel, still be waiting somehow, somewhere, tethered to this small patch of snow and time? Gabriel looked at her with unwavering honesty and said, I believe that you and Nathaniel have a chance to rewrite the ending of your story. But to do that, we need to unearth the pieces that have been buried beneath years of silence. I don't know all the answers, but I came here to offer a new story, a new hope. Tears that had been frozen in her eyes began to thaw and spill onto her cheeks. Eliza felt a deep ache mingled with a strange relief, as if the weight of years could finally be lifted, and carried by someone who understood. That December day marked the beginning of something unexpected for Eliza. She found herself returning to the bench not as a place of sorrow but as a place of possibility. She would meet Gabriel again, and together, they pieced together fragments of a story that had been hidden even from her. The townsfolk watched as the woman who once seemed so wrapped in grief began to smile again, her eyes catching the light of hope like a secret flame guarded against the winter's chill. The companionship with Gabriel did not erase Nathaniel's memory but added layers of healing, a mosaic of love's different shades. As the snow deepened outside their window that night, Eliza felt the photo still pressed close to her heart. But now beside it was an open book, a story where beginning and ending mingled, and where December no longer marked loss, but the delicate birth of something new. And so, each year afterward, beneath the oak tree, on the bench kissed by falling snow, sat two souls linked by a tale beyond time, their presence warming the cold with a story of love never truly lost but forever found. For more stories, like and subscribe.